Welcome back to the channel. So interesting article yesterday, Kill Team Octarius, a pre-order promise. And basically the ins and out of the article, for those of you who haven't read it, I assume most of you probably have, is that they're making a promise that everyone who pre-orders on Saturday will get a copy. Now, of course that means we'll get a copy eventually. So if you're one of the lucky few to get in there early enough, you'll get it at launch. If you are later, you may wait a number of months before you get yours. Now this is very much being touted as a massive benefit for us, the players. So the customers are getting everything they want here, so they might miss out initially, but they will definitely get what they want. That's what they want us to believe, but all of this is a massive push for economies of scale from Games Workshop. Now I'm going to make a brief assumption that you don't know what that is. I'm sure that the vast majority of you do, but I'll quickly explain it. So in the briefest way possible, let's have a look at this scale. We've got economies of scale on one side and diseconomies of scale on the other side. So what this basically means is, on the left hand side, if you are producing a product, you do it in the most efficient and cost effective way to earn your economies of scale. So what that might mean is it costs maybe, let's say it costs £40 per unit to produce these if you're producing up to 20,000 of them. And if you produce 50,000, you might reduce that cost to £30 per unit. And so how would you do that? Number one, you'll save money from buying more raw materials and getting better pricing. Number two, all of your printing presses and machinery and all that kind of stuff, they will be working without the plates being changed and earning more money that way. All of your people involved in the operation of just producing this one box, they'll get better at it, they'll get more efficient, and they'll start to work faster. So that's what earns you your economies of scale from that side. Then you will go through the period of what they call constant returns. So that is, you cannot buy any better and you cannot work any more efficient. So you have got your baseline cost. So that is reduced as much as possible. And then where we get diseconomies of scale is where, for example, you might produce more than you need. So you'll be tying up your money in storage and that kind of thing. And then you get into diseconomies of scale. So that means you're tying up your money within the business with items that you might not sell immediately, or you are not producing things that you want to launch later on, so you're delaying production on that, and it's starting to cost the business money. So what GW is doing is they are reversing some of that. They're basically eliminating that diseconomy of scale. So if we looked back to what happened with Indomitus, they produced a massive amount of that box. It sold out within about 8 minutes online, and you were still able to get it in some GW stores and your odd retailer and that kind of thing, you could get them, but broadly it was unavailable on the day of launch. After some really negative kind of community feedback, they said, right, if you pre-order, get in your pre-orders, we're going to produce extra copies and we're going to make them to order. So however many you want, we'll produce those and then we'll deliver them. That is what they're doing with Kill Team Octarius. So basically, if you look at this scale again, they've produced enough copies to earn their original economies of scale, so they have made it as cost effective to produce that box as possible, and they have produced enough copies to get to that point, earning economy of scales. So what they want to do is they want to continue to produce, but they don't want the diseconomies of scale to start to affect them. So what they do, they get economies of scale, they get you to pre-order more copies, so they get cash in the bank. So this original economies of scale is based on their internal costs. So we haven't paid for any of that stuff. They have fronted all the costs for production to get economies of scale. And all they're doing now is they're selling that quantity of products, which is likely to be very low. And then they're getting you and me to pay for the economies of scale for the next production run. So why are they telling us about this now? Why are they presenting it to us in this way on this occasion? And I think we don't have to look back very far at all to work out why. I think the main reason is the Age of Sigmar Dominion box. Now I think they attempted to learn lessons from Indomitus in thinking, right, do you know what, that box was so successful, it did all sorts of things to make the company change the way they look. So let's not make the mistake that we had then. Let's create a new launch box for Age of Sigmar, but we're going to produce a massive amount so we don't run out. We don't want to do another production run because we don't know how many we're going to need, or if they do the same pre-order program, we don't know how many to make for that because we don't know how this is going to be. Because don't forget, Age of Sigmar is very, very different in terms of demand from what 40k is. So I think they've looked at this and they've gone, right, we're not going to produce any more Dominion because there's so many still on the shelves. So everywhere that stocks them or had them in originally, they've still got copies. So what does that matter? Why does that make any difference? Well, number one, you're spending a load of money storing it, so you've got all these sat in storage waiting for retailers and customers to buy it. And number two, it massively affects the sale of your next products to come out. And by that, I'm talking about the other starter boxes for Age of Sigmar. So Age of Sigmar Extremis, so that is potentially what they want to be their largest box for starting the hobby. Now, if there's copies of Dominion left over, there's no way I'm buying this. I don't know how this product is selling, but I know for a fact that for me personally, if I've got a choice between buying this or buying the Dominion box, and I'm paying roughly the same value, there's no way I'm getting this. I am going for Dominion all the way. So I think if they look back at that Dominion box, they're probably thinking, do you know what, we should have produced enough copies to get our economies of scale, and then done the pre-order function for any more that we need. So we might not reach the same economies of scale for that, but we will be working on cash in the bank. Customers will be paying for it before we even lift the finger to start producing. So you've already cut out all of your expenditure for that production run there anyway. So in a nutshell, they are producing enough to get the right economies of scale, and then they are stopping production there. They're only producing as many as they need to hit that point. And then they're getting the punters to pay for any more that they need to produce. And it doesn't matter if they reach the same economies of scale, because the fact is they won't be tying any money up in the business. They will only be producing what they're going to sell, and then that box is being discontinued. So everything that they're saying is a benefit to the customer is simply a benefit to them. So what does that mean for those of us that don't buy direct from Games Workshop? So maybe we buy from Element Games or Darksphere. So what we will find, no doubt, is that when this box goes on sale, the RRP is going to be £125, or I think €155. So what we will find is that Element Games and Darksphere and everyone else will probably almost certainly not be offering their normal discount. So I reckon Element Games is going to be £112.50, and other places will be similar to that. But what you'll also find is that they will also have a pre-order link for you to purchase for a second print run, and the price for that is likely to be about between £95 and £100. And again, this is all just a guess. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just, this is just my opinion. But certainly, if you're interested in this box, you don't mind waiting the extra time and you want to save some money, I think that's what's going to happen. If you're going to buy it from a retailer, you will be able to buy it at a better price. And in fact, even if you look at Element Games, now they want to bring stocks in and sell them and get them out as soon as possible. So for example, their Dominion box set, they've brought in a certain amount. They didn't sell out straight away, and now they've got stock on the shelves. But in order to kind of save face with the customer base, they're still selling it at a higher price than they would probably like to, because there's other retailers on there. If you can go and find these Dominion boxes for around about £86, £87. But a lot of these larger retailers are, rightly so, not prepared to lose face with their paying regular customers in order to drop that price to free up those boxes. I'm not saying they won't do it eventually, but right now they're not doing that. Well, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be putting out a lot more content like this going forward. Now, my next article that I'm going to be bringing out will be tomorrow. I'll be discussing the entry level for Kill Team. So if we ignore that box, if we don't want the terrain and we don't want the Krieg or the Orcs in there, that kind of thing, looking at the entry level for it, which is basically the rulebook, the compendium, the TAC Ops cards, and the Kill Team Essentials, it comes to about £92, which I think is very, very high for entry level for the game, even if you don't get all that stuff. But I will be talking about that much, much further tomorrow, be making some comparisons against similar skirmish games and that kind of thing. So if you're looking forward to that, of course, subscribe. If you want to support me, there's a link in the description for my affiliate link for Element Games. So if you use that, I get a small kickback and you get the same great discount. Just in the same way, there's another code down there which you can use at your checkout, which will double your element crystals, those rewards. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. I will see you tomorrow.